I was talking to a friend recently who was telling me a personal story, and I'll leave out the details just to protect their privacy. But it went something like this. They had people close to them in their life, and they were buddy-buddy for a while. And what happened is that they expressed their true opinion about what was going down in the pandemic and their true ideology. And this raised enough defensiveness in this other person that they actually waged a war against them. And it didn't start off being a war overnight, but it was a strong enough difference that they used their influence to turn people against my friend. And years would go by, time would go by, and it just so happened that my friend thought that everything was okay, that, the friendships that they had were fine. And they went into a business partnership and got screwed over because they became the villain. They became the villain in all of these people's lives just for having a different opinion, having questions, for seeing things differently, because this person, the way their mind works is very unique. And as a result, the way they see things and synthesize the world is very different. And just by having a conversation with others about the way they see things was enough to bring harm to them. I genuinely believe that this is lower sentience. This is exactly what you would expect if you are with a lower sentient being or creature or human. All inclusive. I'm not being pejorative and human centric right now. What we see is this caginess, and we see this villainizing of others just for being different, just for thinking differently. Now, here is the crazy part. So, apparently, when they got screwed over in the business, it was pretty severe. And as a result, they had to go on a quest, a hero's journey of their own. They called it a symphony. I thought that was beautiful. Essentially, the universe tested them, tested their strength, tested their willpower, their drive, their determination, and I won't go into the details, but they came out on top. And as a result, they walked away feeling more empowered, more wise, more capable, and more expanded. And my first thought, after having a similar experience that I did not share with them, and the circumstances were different, but you can listen to it on my Breaking Patterns episodes that I have, where I go into detail about this. My first thought was, oh my God, we live in a fucking simulation. Because this is exactly the type of thing that we would expect if we're actually living in a simulation. And here's why. Because my friend is not the type of person that deserved this. It was not the type of person that, you could say, oh, this is karma. This is karma. No, he's not actually the type of person where he had it coming. And this is a indication to me that our simulation needs an update. And this isn't the first time that I felt this way. And some of you might also feel this way, that some of the lessons and some of the challenges that come to us, although they do help us to walk away feeling expanded, And that's the rain in the background. That I'm sure you can hear it. It's ASMR. Some of the lessons are kind of strange. You know, like after you have upgraded yourself to a certain level, it's kind of like this. You are this magnificent being, right? You're building your life, you are rocking and you're rolling, and then all of a sudden you have this like sideswipe from a demon inhabiting a human form, and you're just scratching your head going, can you even like complete a full sentence? You know, like there's a disparity that happens where it's almost as though it doesn't make sense anymore. Like when we look at what is happening overseas, I kind of have the same feeling, and you might as well, that it's like, wait, we're doing what? Wait, what? We blew up what? Why? Why? Okay. Right. Okay, so peace talks don't happen. Oh, we're just not talking anymore? Okay. Oh, we're labeling people with the big T? Like, how are we defining that? And it turns out, who's really the bully here? You know, like when you look at the evidence, you're just scratching your head going, okay. And so then it's this whole charade. Oh, we're going to suppress people on social media who are trying to, oh my God, people are getting deplatformed just because they're trying to stand up for the underdogs who, you know, like at some point in our simulation experience, I think we need a call for an upgrade, because this whole hero's journey paradigm, and it is something that has been taught countless times. And in fact, I mean, the history of it is really interesting, but this is the formula for books and movies and theater and life and simulations, I'm saying as well, you know, like everything scales up. And I actually believe that the formula is a little boring now. I really feel that way. Okay, here's what I mean. I watched a trailer of The Shift because somebody left me a comment and told me that they're making a movie about reality shifting. And I got really excited, you know, to like spread the word more mainstream, because this is really niche and it's hard to talk about, you know, if people don't have a framework for it. It takes a lot of exposure to the idea to understand that you can shift your reality. And most people are so locked into a singular experience that they can't even wrap their head around the fact that they can actually change their reality, which is different from manifesting. And so it's kind of fun, you know, to awaken to people to this. And it's also really fun to find out who else is a reality shifter. Hey guys, what's up? And so as a result, it's very, very niche, and it's a fun niche that I really enjoy. But I was like, oh my God, they're making a movie, so now people are going to understand it. So I went to check it out, the trailer, and I was kind of like, because it was clearly following the hero's journey story, and there's like Satan incarnate in a human form that has this weapon of putting people in different realities. And so he separates this guy from his love, from, you know, his wife. And so, you know, the guy's like, I will find her. And, you know, the separation story is very painful, and a lot of us have to live through it. And that's what the whole twin flame experience is about. And so this evil devil guy is using this technology to keep people apart in different realities. And the hero in the story has to fight back and to reunite with his love. And I mean, I guess like it follows the traditional formula. So it's kind of like we already know the story, you know, even though it's going to take some different twists and turns. He might have to be super creative in how he actually figures out the puzzle. And that part will be interesting. But once you see the formula, you're kind of like, I get it. You know, like, okay, I get it. I get it. And as a result, I really feel, I'm pausing because I don't know if I want to say it. I really feel that formulas like that are representative of lower sentience. And I feel like they're very effective. And I feel like we have this entire media industry that has built a society that has used that formula time and 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 time again. And what's frustrating is that it's almost like they've locked onto it and repetitively gatekept it and made sure that everything fit into that mainstream formula, like music. You know, like for a while, it's just all kind of sounds the same. And even though you're flipping the radio stations, if you're in the same genre, it literally, you can't tell that you're on a different radio station, really. And when you're in a different genre, then it's got its own vibe to it, but it still feels weird, you know? It just feels weird. And similarly with our movies and our books, everything that has been published in the past has been just this ad nauseum on repeat, which is why a lot of us really like indie movies, because indie movies break the formula more often than not. They, you know, sometimes follow it, but like indie movies are such gems because especially like the really artsy ones and the really, really dark ones, you know, because they just make you feel. They actually make you feel. And whereas some of the others are just kind of like mind numbing. And especially when an indie art film is like raw and it's authentic and it's coming from, you know, like this voice, it has like a different resonance to it. And so as a result, I really feel as though we need a big overhaul in thinking about humans and what appeals to us, because a lot of us are waking up, yourself included, myself included. A lot of us are waking up beyond the previous generations and where we've been before. And as a result, formulaic things like that don't hit the same way. It's kind of like, how many of you have signed up for a webinar in the last month? The one time I did a webinar and I realized that it was actually pre-recorded, but they went through this whole BS of like making me schedule it. And, or maybe I've done too. Like I had to fit my calendar to this webinar that ended up being pre-recorded. And it was like this illusion that they're like trying to hook you in with this idea of scarcity mindset, scarcity time. It's like, okay, we're going to have a webinar at like 12. And so you have to be there at then. And then you find out that it's pre-recorded and you're like, you could have just sent me a link. You know, why did I have to go through this BS? And so I believe that a lot of our business operations and advertisement has really hinged on these magic tricks, you know? And then there's this whole idea of the formula that's, you know, the formula to success that I find attracts people that hooks into. But then there's a whole other subsection of us that are really tired of it, you know? Like, don't tell me it's $4.99. I get it. I know that's like so dated. People doing that. Like, just tell me it's 500. Seriously. Like, why are you trying to trick me? At some point when you're conscious, you're looking around at the world and you're like, okay, everything is fucking formulaic. Everything, literally everything. Our modes of behavior, how we interact in the world, how we suffer inside behind the surface level nonsense. And then we go to entertainment, and then that's a formula too. And we're like, okay, who's the hero? Who's the villain? And then we get to the simulation experience, and we're caught still in these stupid ass hero journeys that we don't actually deserve, but are still to our betterment. So I'm not trying to say we need to exclude them, because we do need challenges. We do need tests of fitness. We do need opportunities to exceed our wildest imaginations of our baseline understanding of ourselves. And the only way we do that, to break out of our complacency, is to challenge ourselves. And unfortunately, very few of us sign up for that type of challenge, especially when it comes to our personal life and interpersonal relationships, right? It's like, I'll take a side of suffering with that love, please. No, nobody gets into a relationship wanting a side of suffering and indefinite suffering at that's going to cripple you and make you lose everything. Nobody signs up for that willingly. We all sign up for the illusion. We all sign up for the fucking webinar that's like, you need to clear your schedule and get there at 12. Nobody else is there except you and a pre-recorded video. Why? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Like, can we please pop the fucking balloon? Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, guys. Usually I like to do a meditative lecture where I try to get everybody in the brainwave state that would like calm the nervous system, help you go into semi-hypnosis. And then tonight I'm just ranting, apparently. So sorry. So sorry about that. There are benefits to changing your brainwave states, and especially when you're trying to manifest and to reality shift, just if you don't already know that. And so that's the reason that I try to curate this feed in that way. But if you go to my Rumble channel, you'll see me just, kind of like this with an actual face. So you can check that out at Quantum Revolution by Dr. C, or you can search for Sacred Journey Productions. Anyway, so back to our scheduled program. At some point, we lose interest in the pretense. That is the point. And when we are subjected to things that we know we don't deserve, and like my friend, he did not deserve what happened to him. He just didn't. And it was egregious, and it was reckless, and it was really unfathomable. Like, the people that did that to him should be embarrassed of themselves, but they feel justified. This is the crazy thing. This is the crazy thing about the shadow. They feel justified because they're mad at him. Why? For having a different opinion. Really? For being a different person. Yeah, that's a real thing. That is a real thing. So that entitles people to do horrible things to those who they used to love. Think about that for a second. You are in my inner circle, except, you have your own mind and your own opinions. Yeah, I'm going to come after you full vindictive style, and I'm going to oust you and ruin your life, and just some really bizarre stuff. And having seen this up and close and personal around the same time that he did as well, but in a different situation, different circumstance, that's what made me think we're in a goddamn simulation, because I didn't deserve it either. And so there must have been a collective of us that were going through these lessons, and it's probably related to the Libra collective or something. I don't know. That's my moon sign. That's why there's so many popular collective astrology readers and tarot readers, because there's a swath of people that go through these lessons all at once which also I think is evidence that we're in a simulation. And so I am asking for us to think about how to change the programming of the simulation, because these lessons, although useful, are a little 1999, maybe the year 2000, right when Y2K happened. So right at the cusp. They're just like a little 1999. And I really feel like we need to update them. It's just a PS day. Anyway, so by the way, I am a reality shifting coach, but I'm also a content creator on Rumble. If you're interested in social commentary and what's really happening in the world, feel free to check it out. Sacred Journey Productions.